Recognize Representative Kiley. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Campbell, I want to ask you about the New Orleans experience, because it's such an important case study that in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, you had to rebuild the whole education system, and New Orleans went 100% charter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so what have the results been in terms of student achievement?
The results have been nothing short of remarkable. So as we said, it was virtually a wasteland. It was one of the worst school districts in America prior to Hurricane Katrina. And you look today and you actually see a vibrant school system. It actually works very well. And contrary to what a lot of people said, the folks who started schools after Hurricane Katrina were education leaders who were already from New Orleans. It wasn't like there was some invading force that came in with all these charter schools. The reality is we empowered local educators who were already there, already operating schools with a new way to be able to do it, that they have embraced and ran with and done phenomenal things with. Right now, if you look at our state, New Orleans, again, was always at the bottom. It's in the top tier in terms of school district performance, in the top 40%. There's no way you would have expected that in New Orleans when you look at the demographics of New Orleans. And so we have veteran educators who love New Orleans, who have lived there their entire lives, who are running great charter schools. And if you ask them to a person, they will tell you they will never go back. That's the reality of what's happening in New Orleans.
So New Orleans went from among the worst to among the best after
Yes.
going 100% charter.
Yes.
And yet we see in some parts of the country, charter schools are under attack. One of the first things that the Biden administration education department did was to propose cutting charter school grants. In California, a number of laws have been passed and signed into law by the governor, making it harder to open and to reauthorize charter schools. In Los Angeles Unified School District's second largest district in the entire country, they're proposing right now to significantly restrict the ability to operate charter schools. We've heard today several just blatantly false statements about how charter schools work from our friends over there, as well as one of the Democrat witness who just blatantly mischaracterized the New Orleans experience. So what would your message be to those who are waging this war on charter schools when they've been shown to produce such remarkable results?
I think the first thing we have to understand that this is really about money and control. Right? We can talk about all these other things, performance and all this. It is money and control. It is who gets to decide how kids are educated, where they're educated, and who gets to spend the money. And the fact is now we have a situation where all of a sudden it's not all housed in one district. There are other people who can say, this is how we're going to spend our dollars. These are the results we're trying to achieve. For the first time, we have empowered poor families to say, I don't like what's happening in this school, and so I'm going to take my money and I'm going to move and go somewhere else. So at the end of the day, as long as we're talking about money and power and control, you're always going to have this kind of contentiousness. But let's not make it something else. It really is about money and power and control and who has it and who doesn't.
So in other words, the attacks on charter schools are about putting politics over kids.
Absolutely.
Dr. Raymond, sorry, I wanted to ask you briefly about the Credo study, because this is really the gold standard when it comes to measuring charter school success. And I think you have results specifically for California as well, which is my state. Can you speak to that a little bit about how charters have done in California?
I knew I would get a detailed question. Hang on just a second. Yes, thank you. In our charter school study of 2023, students in California charter schools were able to post 11 extra days of learning in reading and math, 4 extra days of learning in math. These are 1,300 charter schools across the state, so on average, they are moving students forward faster than students in traditional public schools that are right down the street.
So isn't it interesting that the politicians in Sacramento see those results and decide these are precisely the schools that we need to go after and to target and to make it more difficult to operate them? Thank you very much for your work, and thank you as well for your testimony, Mr. Campbell, and your work, the tremendous work that you're doing to provide opportunities to students. The beauty of charters is that not only are they helping to close achievement gaps in districts that have historically struggled when it comes to student success, but they also allow for just different options for different types of kids and different types of families. So in the area that I represent, we actually have some truly excellent traditional public schools, and then we also have some very outstanding charter public schools that some families choose to opt into. So I want to thank the chair for holding this hearing. I think it's very important that we continue to support the charter movement and to support successful charter schools and charter leaders. And I think it's highly unfortunate that that can't be as bipartisan as frankly it should be. Thank you, and I yield back to the chair.